lot better. We had part one out last week. I was out of the office that day, so Jerry Schlickburn actually covered me, and so it was Owen, Jerry, Denless, and Indar. Indar, like I said, he is the biggest home flipper in all of Hawaii, Maui area. We met him at the Bigger Pockets conference through Brandon Turner and Megan Ahern. So they got a lot going on. They did also a video short with us when we did our Bigger Pockets shorts. So I definitely recommend checking out those shorts. We had a lot of good interviews in there. But this podcast has been fun to listen to. Plus, it's fun to listen to when you're not on the podcast, and then you can hear it back. Please like and subscribe on whatever format you listen to. We could definitely use some reviews on that also, because I think we got like 96 reviews. We'd love to get to 100 since our 100th episode is coming up soon. And so it'd be really appreciative on that. Speaking of, we're kind of dabbling with some ideas right now for our August event. Unless like somebody really big shows up that can be in there, but we're thinking to do a celebration event for our Ria Radio 100th episode event. So doing a party, inviting everybody that's been on the podcast in the past. We got a little gift idea that we're going to give everybody that's been on the podcast, maybe a live event. So that's in plans. That's kind of looking for our August event. So a little heads up on that. So Owen, Dennis, and I are talking about that right now. Just want to go over some stuff here before we bring Patryk up. A couple things. We do have a new sponsor. That's really important to bring up. Safe Exit Egress Windows with Ben Merrill. Ben, right here, wave your hand so everybody knows who you are. Ben, thank you, Ben. Yeah. One thing about our sponsors is that my goal is that you that comes here have your whole entire team with joining the group. So all of you, everybody you need. If it's a contractor, you need new image. If you need a lawyer, what are we at? Scenario. If you need an accountant with Franco Zachariah, if you need your roofing done with college, or you need money through JM or American Express, James Reed, right there. These are the people that create your dream team. And Albert's Flooring, which is going to come talk today, is our event sponsor tonight. But these are the people that we need. Unless they legally can't give it to you, all these sponsors are providing you guys discounts. And for the $100 fee that you guys pay for a year membership, it's a pretty damn good deal. And use a sponsorship one time. Trust me, you get discounts. I use all the sponsors for everything I do every time. And I like the relationship. Plus, I like to work with these guys and then you guys that I'm using these guys too. So I know that New Image is working 3 of my properties right now. Thank you. By the way, I got man, I'm renovating a house, waiting on inspections. The deck is done, and all of a sudden we get word the city's like, the inspections never got done. And on anything, we come to find out. Tanner over here, which he's helping me renovate a house in Little Bohemia. He's helping me on a couple things now. He steps in. Not bad mouth to the people I worked with in the past, but he stepped in taking over that building permit and now coming in and tearing a whole entire brand new deck down, contacting the city, getting everything up to legal and par. So it's really important to work with credible people that are going to stand behind their work because it will cost you the butt when because I can't tell you the amount of holding costs and everything I'm spending on and the refi process. Oh my gosh. But anyway, so thank you for your help on this, by the way. So the sponsors are a big deal. But Safe Exit Egress Windows, Ben's going to do a 10% discount up to $500. He only does egress windows. That's his whole business. He's not trying to take on everything in the world. This is his niche. He was referred to us from Ryan Basie. Ryan Basie's only used Ben and helped you get the business going, right? For over 2 years. So I actually just ran into Basie at a car show on Sunday. And Ryan Basie, I just ran into him. But yeah, so these sponsors are a big deal for us. We have over 20 local sponsors. We have over 20 national sponsors. They are the reason we're able to do what we do. So thank you to the sponsors. Thank you to. And speaking of sponsors, tonight's event sponsor is Albert's Flooring. It's owned by John Albers. And give a big round of applause. Let him try to say a few words. So while John's coming up, John offers a 10% discount to members of the group. John is doing the floors on every property I've ever touched, actually, apartment buildings, single family flips, and let him talk a little bit about his business. But
Awesome. Thank you, Ted. And it's great to see so many familiar faces out here, and we've seen a lot of new faces as well. And that's what always makes me happy is to see that this group is always growing and support that you guys keep giving. I think it's great. My name's John Alberts. I own Alberts Flooring, and been serving the real estate community and I guess everyone else, obviously, for the past 4 years. And I love coming um, and being able to sponsor you guys and help everyone out with their flooring projects. So some of the things we do is we specialize in hardwood refinishing, install, vinyl install, engineered floors. There's a whole list of things we do, stair tracks, risers, the list goes on. Please feel free to come and come say hi, ask some questions. One thing I am offering other than my discount of 10% is we're getting busy. My next start date somewhere in September. So the guys, if you're wanting to have something done, please come say something. Let's get you on the books sooner than we can. And I'm willing to give a higher discount for those who are willing to wait longer because I understand that it can be a little frustrating or maybe not the most convenient. Other than that, with flooring, the one thing I want to talk to you guys about is a new addition to my business. This is something that I'm still testing the waters on, and I'm looking for a few people to come forward to do this at a very, very low price. That being said, what I want to do is I want to offer standing, but finishing and staining of your guys' decks and fences. I'll go to these properties and I see a lot of nice wood fences and nice wood decks, but they become gray or worn over time. And what we can do is we can pressure wash and use a degraying element to remove the gray out of the wood, come back and put a stain and finish that will dress your property up on the inside and the outside and allow it to last that much longer. So if anyone's interested in this, please come approach. It's something I want to get into. I haven't done a lot of it, and like I said, these first few jobs, I'm only doing it for a very low price to get my foot in the door to this area. Otherwise, I'll pass this back off to Ted, and I appreciate you guys all coming out. Yeah, thank you, Ted, very much.
Mentioned it before, but just so you guys know, if you did park in the back parking lot, you didn't scan the QR code, you want to do that because they will ticket you guys. The parking's free if the code is REIAG. Put that you're in room 1 when they ask for the room number. But if you didn't do that, make sure you do that. Also, Burger Theory is just right across. It's in the building here. It's on the other side. We meet there afterwards. They do a 25% discount on food for us, and the tabs do transfer from one side to the other. If you're sitting at a table with a number, they'll bring the food here. So take advantage of that. Kelly and Jenny are in the back. Those girls are amazing. They're mainly the whole reason that we keep on coming back to this thing more than anything else. So if you give those girls a big round of applause. If they fire you guys, we're going to look for a new venue. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Also, I took advantage of this tonight for Patryk. Rooms are $99. If you guys need a place to stay tonight, can't drive home, be safe. Take $99. It's cheaper than getting a ticket. In the back, we have a book giveaway. Mo, you got the book stuff? You want? We got 2 books. Oh yeah, Bud. Yep, and we'll shout out Bud in his information here since he did that. So what we do is we give away books every single month. And if you bring a book back, we ask that you put your card stapled or taped in here. So make sure we'll do that later. But we'll chat you up in your business. So we gave a book a couple weeks or a couple months ago called The Quitter's Manifesto. I got this at the Bigger Pockets conference. It's by Tim Rode and Pat Hyden. And Bud and Jane Thompson donated this book back to us through Nebraska Realty, and have been a long time members. And you guys are members of RIA, but you're members of the RIA before I even took over, right? So we appreciate your support. Thank you for everything you do. So with that, let's give away the first book. We got Vanna.
Oh, you want me to drop?
Yeah. Monica with DEBG Realty here.
And the winner is Kimmy Stevens.
With KW Elite. Where you at, Kim? There you go. Hey, Kim, when you staple your card in there, will you staple Bud's card in there too so people know how many times it's being passed around? And our second book is Go Put Your Strengths to Work by Marcus Buckingham. This is like the last one of these. I had a big box of these that were given me for free. She's picking favorites here. Okay, drum roll. Give me a drum roll.
And the winner is I don't have my glasses on. Help me.
Rob Fishbein with JM Capital. Will you take that back to Rob on the way back there? Thank you. Appreciate it, Monica. Okay, so that's our book giveaway. So exciting here, isn't it? We big welcome to our new members. If you are first time here or you're a new member, either way, can you guys raise your hand so we know who you are? Loud and proud so we can see it. I don't see it. Okay, welcome, guys. I do this every time. I think this is important. I went to another group and out of state, and this happened, and I got a lot out of it. So I know it's repetitive for the people who've been here, but it's important. So if look around, if you're new here, you know what? If you own or do property management, will you raise your hand? Who does property management? It's important. Who is? I don't. Like I said, you're a property manager, but I own it. But who has multifamily properties? Multifamily properties. Who's got single family properties? Who owns trailer home parks? Anybody have trailer home park? One, two. Got two now. Yeah, look at that. You got competition. You're not the only one now, Rob. Who has commercial property that's not multifamily? And where's our contractors? Any contractors in the room? I see lots of hands. Who are the contractors that are looking for business? What kind of business are you looking for? Flooring? Concrete? Looking for business. Solid roofing in the back's looking for got business. Looking for business. Any other contractors? Albert's Flooring. No. Tanner Gordon over there got his hands up. He's going like this. He's selective, right? Who invests out of state? Any out of state investors? Lots of hands. Who flips? Who does flips? How about that? Who flips hotels into apartment buildings? Let's see. There's a lot of variety in the room of what people do, and it's important to know what's around you. Like, my niche is I like to buy condemned houses and make them midterm rentals, and not everybody does that, and we all have a thing that we do. So find out who does something at your table, and you're gonna find out that they're doing some stuff that's gonna blow your mind. I look at every table, and I know that there's people blowing my mind at every one of these tables, and that's why a lot of people also do it on a podcast. If you've been on RIA Radio podcasts, can you raise your hand? Because there's some outstanding people right there with their hands up right now. So awesome. Thanks for that clap. Appreciate that. So take a look at that when you guys are thinking about your own business, what you want to do with yourself. Talk to these people. The best networking happens after this event. So we meet over at Burger Theory to keep it open as long as we keep on drinking, right? Right, Jen? Yep. Yeah. So we sit there late and have a good time. Some upcoming events we have. We have our Omaha RIA Luncheon. It's at the Rail Car off 144th and Blondo. It's always on the third Fridays unless it falls on a holiday. So it'll be on the 16th. It's 11:30 till 1. We have a room there. If it's about 45 to 50 people, if you don't show up early, you sit at the bar. So, um, yeah, that's the way it is. You get to have some drinks, right? But there's no charge. You don't need to be a member to attend. It's a great time to bring somebody who wants to check it out for the first time. We don't have an event speaker. Everybody there is an event speaker, so everybody gets up and talks about what's going on in their business. We call it meet, mingle, and talk about your successes for the month. Uh, there's a lot of repeat people, and the feedback's been really positive. I'm always going to change stuff if you got ideas, but please check it out. Also, in the National RIA Zoom call, there's usually hundreds of people on this. There's 100,000 members nationwide of the National RIA. So if you're a member of this, you're part of National RIA, and you get to go on these events for free. It's kind of like this, but they get national speakers. It's like a 2-hour event. So check that out if you ever have. Next month, I put some flyers on the table. Feel free to take them with you if you want. There's a ton more in the back. We have Mike Mastery. He's a national speaker, speaks every week at somewhere around the world. He's done multiple TED Talks. He's got a podcast. He's a real estate investor for over 30 years. Patryk Swietek, where you at, Pat? You said you actually knew Mike Wolf, right, from California? Any positive things or things that yeah, so it should be a good event. And I wrote really nice about Patryk in the introduction. Patryk, you about ready to get up here? So first off, before I do an introduction, we went to Bear Pocket last year, and Owen and I were going down the hallway. I don't even know how we met Patryk. We were walking next to you, but I can talk to people. And we got BS, and then kind of finally he's like, "Yeah, I got a Airbnb in Joshua Tree, or I got 5 Airbnbs in Joshua Tree, all $1 million+ houses, major renovations, 6-figure renovations on these properties. I have a place in Smoky Mountains. Oh, and by the way, I just bought a management company manages 20 plus of these high-end Airbnbs. I just don't take them all on. It's really sick. And and then after going through this and him telling us about his business and a little bit of his life, he's like, "Oh, by the way, I think at the time weren't you 24 at the time when we met? Maybe I guess 25." And I'm like, "Holy moly, that's like half my age." And so we were just really blown away by Patryk. We ended up talking the whole entire night. We had him on the podcast, episode 80 something, 84, and great conversation. We had to mute more f bombs than that podcast we've ever had to mute ever. What was our count, Dennis? Did we have like 45 f bombs? Yeah. So a lot of f bomb bleeps there. He's like, "Oh man, I didn't realize I cussed that much." But here's a little information about Patryk. I'm thrilled to introduce our distinguished guest speaker for tonight, Patryk Swietek. A young and accomplished entrepreneur has made a mark in the realm of real estate investment. What sets Patryk apart is his extraordinary journey, which began at the tender age of 14 when he established his first tech company. Since then, he's consistently demonstrated his exceptional passion for the business world, propelling him to new heights and success. Currently, Patryk is the proud owner of 6 short-term rentals and manages an additional 20 for investors in Joshua Tree. Though his hands-on experience and unwavering dedication, he has honed his skills in real estate investments, making him a true authority to the field. Not not content with his personal achievements, but Patryk founded STR Nation, an enterprise dedicated to empowering investors like yourself to achieve financial freedom through real estate investing. He firmly believes in the transformative power of property investments and is enthusiastic about sharing his invaluable insights and expertise to foster your success. Tonight, we have the privilege of tapping into Patryk's vast knowledge and unique perspective. Brace yourself for an enlightening, empowering talk. You have bombs. Talk as he shares practical strategies, insider tips, and wealth of wisdom through his own remarkable journey. Please join me in giving a warm, enthusiastic welcome to Patryk Swietek.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Whoa, that's really loud. Wow, you guys, I will say I'm from California. I actually just flew in from Los Angeles, and this is a pretty big crowd. I don't know, Ted, what you did with the RIA here or how you guys all became a family. I want to learn from you guys because this is insane. This is great. Um, yeah, so I mean, Ted basically gave me my whole background wrong, so now he limited a lot of the stuff I was gonna talk about, but I'm gonna just kinda give it all. I just wanna give, an understanding of the room and the audience here. How many of you guys are invested in short-term rentals? Raise That's a good amount, okay. How many of those short-term rentals are out of state? Got it. How many of those short-term rentals are actually midterm rentals? Got it. Okay, cool. So, today I really wanna talk about a few things. I want it to be educational for everybody that we're talking to today. But my primary audience that I talk to is usually STR investors, short-term rental investors, people that want to rent on Airbnb, and that's my expertise. So I teach that, I put on conferences about that, that's, like, my thing. And so that's what I wanna talk to you guys about today, but I also wanna talk to you guys about my story and how these 2 concepts that I use to leverage to actually scale the fastest way possible. So just a little bit of background on me, I'm just gonna kind of, go through it. Um, well, the 2 principles, I just wanna first say 2 principles. One is mindset. Sounds so cheesy. I know everyone says mindset, 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 but it's super, super important, and I will explain why. And the second thing is leverage. Those 2 concepts allowed me to scale so freaking quick. I said freaking, I say the there you go, Ted. I'm doing it for you. Um, and I really do think I wanna share that with you guys today. Yeah, so just like Ted said, I started my first company when I was 14. When I started this company, it was a game server company. My mom said, "What are you doing? Why are you playing games all day?" I'm like, "No, it's productive, I promise." Um, well, I started making a lot of money doing that, but, before I did all that, I used to play Minecraft. So I used to go online, I used to play Minecraft, and I was obsessed with it. Every day after school, I would just play it. And I realized I couldn't actually host my own server to play with friends. So what I did was I leveraged. I realize now, looking back, that I was able to leverage at such a young age because I wanted the things I wanted, but I didn't have the resources for those things. I didn't have money, but I knew other people wanted server space as well, not just me. So what I did is I originated the house hacking of game servers, which is basically, "Hey, friends, come on my server. I'll give you a slice of that server. You can use it for yourself, pay me, and it's gonna cover my costs, and I'm not gonna have to pay for the server." Genius, right? So I thought to myself, "This is gonna be great." Did that, and realized, wow, $40 started $40 is a lot to me at the time. $40 a month, I was like, "This is gonna go either 1 or 2 ways. One way, I go broke, and second way, I might, play a game server." Turns out that it actually did the opposite. I realized that that is something that's very valuable that people really want. That I eventually scaled and got to, like, servers worldwide, did all sorts of different things, like, I made $40,000 a year doing that in high school at 14 years old. I made as much as drug dealers, which is kinda funny. But, I didn't drive a BMW or anything like that, so I just saved my money. That's what real estate investors do, right? Um, um, but anyways, doing that kinda thing, right? So now I was like, "Ha, mom, I told you I can make money doing this gaming thing." Um, Regardless, started making money, started realizing I can't do all this stuff. I'm in high school. I have, class. I have social stuff. I have soccer. I play sports. I can't really do all. So then I started looking to the second line of leverage. What did I not have at the time, right? In the beginning, I didn't have money. I found the money by finding demand of other people's and leveraging what I had to get that demand, right? So now I had the opposite problem where I was like, "I don't have time, and I don't wanna deal with all this small little stuff." So what did I do? I said, "Hey, listen, similar to how apartment buildings have you see how this correlates with real estate? Similar to how the apartment buildings have an in-house manager that manages the apartment building, I got the same thing. I had somebody rent out server space in exchange for helping me with the business. So I leveraged that. I got people to do free work for me, server space, and in that, it freed up my time. So from a young age, I didn't even know at the time, but I learned the concept of leverage. Now, moving forward into everything that I do now, right? I just a little bit of background on my story. Um, After that, went to college. Really didn't want to go to college. Did it because of my parents, quite honestly. And finished college and said, you know what? This is great. I was in college. I was like, I don't really do anything to do with getting good grades and all that, but I was really fascinated with starting companies, right? I was really fascinated with creating. I had this creative nature about me. And I started this company called Menu 3. Menu 3 was an augmented reality menus company, and basically we had a team of 10 people. We found venture capital. We raised venture capital at 21. I was raising hundreds of thousands of dollars doing that. So I was already learning how to raise money, right, from a young age, learning how to leverage money to get to where I need to go. And that's the mindset thing I already learned at this age is why should I do everything when I can get other people to do stuff for me, right? So I was in school. I realized a lot of people wanted experience, right? Internships, things of that nature. We had one of the best schools in the country in terms of engineering. And I was in business. I wasn't smart enough to get into engineering, but I knew that I could go to the engineering department and I sat there and I watched all these coders at a top university for coding. And I would just spark up conversations. And eventually I went on a couple, meetings. That's where I met my co-founder, who was this genius, 150 plus IQ, really smart guy working on virtual reality, making 3D menus, 3D augmented reality menus. And I told him I could help. And so that whole concept is like, okay, great. Now I have him doing that part of the task. How do I get other people to do things, right? So I got into freshman classes, these really genius freshman students, and basically told them, hey, internship with us, you get free experience, fantastic. You put on your resume, it's your project, and in exchange, technology. And that's what I did. And um, from a young age, I realized I need to find a guy to sell me to the next, right? So moving forward, you guys are like, this is not even a real estate talk. Talking about. So eventually things turned into real estate, right? That thing didn't really work out. There's not much money in restaurants. And I found that real estate's probably the best way to go. 90% of millionaires are made in real estate. Why am I going up against some of the smartest people in the world in tech when I could be going up against, people like if I had above average IQ, I can make money in real estate, right? So I thought to myself, why not just go into real estate? It's proven model. It works, right? There's a reason all you guys are here. Real estate is a proven thing. And so I use my tech skills to work for a real estate company. And that's why I moved to LA. Moved to LA, worked for a company called Avance. Has anybody ever heard of Avance? Cool, a couple of people. Avance does rental arbitrage. What they do is they take rentals, they sign a lease for 3 homes, and they rent it out on Airbnb for more money. So what I did was I created all the tech to help them scale to 1,000 plus units. Now, what that helped with is understanding how to actually scale the business model we're doing. But I think one interesting observation point that I had that made me blown away about real estate in general. Those there's 3 weeks in Palm Springs. You know Palm Springs market a little bit? Okay. Palm Springs is like where Coachella is. You guys know Coachella? Does anybody know Coachella? It's a big, all the influencers, whatever, Justin Bieber, whatever. You all know that, right? It's Coachella. It's a big thing. And so those 3 weeks in Coachella, Palm Springs, for all the 50 houses that they owned across the board, I saw the numbers that those 3 weeks paid off the lease for the full year. When I saw those numbers, I was like, "Why am I working for you guys?" So that became my journey. I actually hated working there, to be honest. Not to shame companies, but I just didn't like working for other people. I remember during Christmas Eve getting into work, and I couldn't take the day off. I didn't have enough PTO. What is that? Um, and they made me work up to cover other people's shift during Christmas Eve. I stayed there till 7 p.m. And I remember my family back home celebrating, 2 hours ahead in Chicago, and they were celebrating. They had their whole, like, whole thing, and I was alone. And I went back to my apartment, and that was it. I didn't have the time freedom to leave. And quite honestly, I didn't have any freedom to do whatever I wanted to do. And I realized, why am I living this life? Why am I living this life of adhering to other people's schedules, right? So I thought to myself, you know what? Well, actually, I was too scared to leave. But thank God, COVID happened, and they laid people off, so there you go. Um, so I was gone, and now this period of time, just to kinda give you guys a gist, this period of time was a time where I tried every single job. I tried multiple jobs. I was in an identity crisis. I went through 3 jobs, and I got fired from 3 jobs in 1 year. That might be a world record. Anybody check that? Because I got fired 3 times. I realized for different jobs too. So I'm like, "What's wrong with me? Like, what am I doing wrong?" So I took a bunch of personality tests. I was, like, in this funk, right? And I realized I'm like, "What am I doing with my life? I want this time freedom. I thought I was gonna go towards my dream, and it's not working. What's going on?" And, I had a breaking point where I held back tears. I was so sad that I thought I was gonna have to go back to Chicago and just live with my parents, and I was like, "I'm not doing that at 23, 24 years old. No. I'm sorry, I love my parents, but I came out here to do something," right? And it was hard seeing my other friends in comparisons that enjoy, right? Saw my other friends making crazy money, doing all these things. I thought, "What am I doing in my life?" Now, that was what I needed. That breaking point was what I needed because I realized my mindset. From there on forward, I always told myself, "I deserve better. I deserve the best what's for me." This is where the mindset piece comes in, right? I deserve better. I'm valuable. I've built company. I've done stuff before. Bring stuff up, hype yourself up. That's all good. That's all something that you're supposed to believe in to allow yourself to get to the next level. Now, after that, I tried to, I basically went online, and I went into these communities, and I started asking people questions on how to get into short-term rentals. I came across one community of people that were pretty much doing what I wanted to do. Um, Now, at the time, I had limiting beliefs. Let's go through those limiting beliefs. Too young. I look like I'm 14, and I'm 26, right? So, I thought, nobody's gonna take me seriously. In this room, like, more than half of you guys are older than me. So, like, I felt like I'm a baby. I can't do this real estate thing. I felt like I didn't make enough money to buy it. I didn't have enough money. I was making if I held a job for more than 3 months, I was making around, like, $1,000 per year. So it's not crazy in LA. And I couldn't buy LA houses, and I couldn't invest out of state. So, as you can see, these are all living beliefs, right? So what I learned at that point, what flipped the switch for me, I realized that I'm the one that's stopping myself from getting to where I wanna go. The moment I realized that, I was like, "I have full control." I'm the one that's stopping myself from getting there because I'm telling myself things that are not true. The moment I started getting to community, people younger than me are buying $800,000 properties. Okay, that was a total lie I told myself. Second thing, didn't have money. Well, there's people with no money that were leveraging other people's money and buying properties. That is a false. Investing out of state, people were investing all over the country. That was a lie. So why do I tell myself all these lies, right? And it's maybe not from a bad place, but it's from a place where I didn't really understand. I didn't really get around people like this that told me that, like, "Hey, look what I'm doing. I have this trailer park. I have this hotel conversion. I have all this stuff." That was the flip of the switch to make me say, "Alright, I can do it." And from there, it was gun blazing. So from there, I bought my first short-term rental property in the Smoky Mountains, Tennessee. I spent every dollar that I had on that property, and I bought it sight unseen. I didn't look at it. I didn't even see it. I just assumed it was all good based on what the realtor told me. I actually submitted my first offer and got accepted. I didn't know what I was doing. I actually remember, and I'm gonna swear here, Ted, so bleep this out. I remember in my journal I wrote, "What the fuck is an EMD?" It's funny because I was like, "I didn't sign up for this shit. Why am I paying $3,000 to this guy? Like, what's going on?" And so that's like the whole learning process, right? I didn't know what I was doing. But then what I did was I just seeked out other people that knew what they were doing, right? Going back to leverage. There's realtor Avery Carl. Who knows Avery Carl? Avery Carl, one of the biggest realtors in the Smoky Mountains, short-term rental expert. Avery Carl, what the heck should I buy? Tell me. That's it. That's all it took. I didn't need to learn. I didn't do all this stuff. All I needed to know is that Avery Carl, I trust her. She can do her job, and I do my job, right? Leverage. Got that. Got the short-term rental. The short-term rental was making $33,000 a year, and I used to work at Bonsai, so I made double that, $60,000 a year, almost double. $60,000 a year gross. This property made. I put 10% down, so 306 was the purchase price. So do the math. That's 3,600 all in. Plus other costs, closing costs and things of that nature. That's around 40,000, but I was making 25K net on this property. Now, this is the same property that I sold 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, something like that, for $465,000, 1.5 years later. So let's say I made no money on this property, and I said, "You know what? I did analysis process, I made a bad deal, whatever." I would have still had that appreciation. So what that shows that real estate, no matter what, like, I mean, yeah, it has its ups and downs. I'm not saying it's gonna go up every time, right? That's not what I'm talking. What I'm saying is, like, if I would have analysis paralysis, I wouldn't have done what I have. Now, going back to 4 months into the short-term rental, I was like, "All right, screw this job. I'm leaving." I left January of 2022. January of 2023. So January 2022, I had 1 Airbnb. January of 2023, I had 20 Airbnbs under management and 6 totally did a whole register. So, how did I get from 1 to 27? And these are all luxury Airbnbs. Josh, these are not like $100,000 houses. These are like 500, 600, some $1,000,000 houses, right? And that goes back to what I was saying, mindset, leverage, right? So let's break it down. I'm a person that likes to talk strategic, right? I had 1 Airbnb. What did I really have at the time that I could offer? I had Airbnb experience, even though it's minimal, I had Airbnb experience because I had 1 Airbnb. I had, no money. I had, I had willingness to do whatever it takes. I had that. I did not have I had hard work, hard effort, I had patience to some degree. Um, so what do I really need? I needed capital. I need somebody that knew how to do, like, value add renovations and things of that nature. And I found this person. I actually went to a meetup, and I met this magical guy that had those things I didn't have. There comes Josh Rudin. Josh Rudin is my business partner to this day. Josh Rudin came to me and said, "You have what I don't have. You know the systems, you know the operations, you built companies in the past." Um, he was a flipper. He's just flipped over 100 houses since he was 19 years old. And he looked at me and said, "Hey, you wanna partner up? I wanna get into Airbnbs. You wanna get into value add? Let's do this thing." And he put up the money. I did all the work. And I also have to find a deal. So now how do I find a deal? I don't know anything about finding deals. I can learn how to wholesale, but I'm all about leverage here. Leverage. I'm about skipping steps personally. So I said, "You know what? I'm just gonna find other realtors. They're already the big shots in the area. I'm gonna find other wholesalers. There are other big shots in the area. They're gonna find the deals for me. They're gonna make some money. I'm gonna make some money." That's what I found the realtor. I found the wholesalers. I brought the deals. I brought it to Josh. Josh, "Oh, you built these connections. You give me those deals, and then we did the deals together." That's how I did 5 deals on top of my 1 that I owned with Josh, like that. Now, how do I get into management? How do I get to 20 under management, right? I cheated. That's what I did in high school. That's what I did in college. And that's exactly what I did right here. I cheated. And that's why unpopular opinion, if your kids cheat in school, as long as they don't get caught, people are gonna hate me. They're like, "Yeah, I'm not talking to this guy anymore." Anyways, if they get caught, then they're really bad cheaters. So I would, they're not good. But anyways, what I did was I said, okay, well, I wanted to get into getting more cash flow. How do I get more cash flow at a fast speed, right? So I thought to myself, I'm going to get into co-hosting. Co-hosting is essentially getting an Airbnb property, going to somebody with an Airbnb property or a property, and saying, "Hey, let's turn this property into a short-term rental. I know it can make X amount of money, and let me manage it for you." So it's no upfront cost on my end. It's great. And I realized that I already have all these Airbnbs, and I was doing all the guest messaging, and I really didn't want to do the guest messaging. But at the same time, I didn't have enough money coming in from these rentals to justify a full team to deploy, right? So I looked for co-hosting clients to spread out my resources, and somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, listen, I don't have one co-host client that you can work with, but I have 16. Does that work?" "Sure. What are you talking about?" I was like, "Somebody's selling their property management." And I said, "Okay." And I came to them, and they told me, they said, I was all my money's in real estate at this point, whatever I have, and leveraging other people and, like, money. So I went up and, I said, "Hey, what do you wanna do?" And so we had to structure this deal, right? And so this comes into structuring a property management company. And I looked at the numbers, and we can talk a little bit more on details and specifics of how I structure that. But the big thing here is we did seller financing. 50% of of the value of the property management company, which resides in the contracts, is I'm gonna put 50% down, and I wanna leverage the 50% in the back end, right? So the 50% on the back end, let's say some contracts leave, I wanna make sure that it's a tiered system. So if any contracts leave, that it covers my ass, basically, right? So, like, let's say 80% or 70% of contracts leave, then I will pay you X amount for the second payment. Now, before we even get to the second payments and all that, how are you gonna put 50% down? That's the crazy thing. Well, guess what? I came up to my business partner, I said, "Hey, man, we have these properties. How about we get into this property management company, and you'll get your first initial payment within the first 7, 8 months based on these calculations. Here you go." He's like, "Done." There you go. It was a great deal. He looked at it. He's like, "Here's the money. You're gonna pay me back within the first year. I'm cool." So what does that really show? Is like I didn't have to put my money down because I knew this was a cash flow machine, right? And I knew that our properties were gonna benefit from having this property management company right underneath it, right? The moment we got the property management company, we realized, okay, everybody in this property management company, the cleans now, we have full cleaning crews. Our cleans are, like, way cheaper. We're making more money in cleans. We're making more money here. So we realized that it was actually a leverage deal to allow us to scale. The moment that I got the property management company, I had 30 leads the first month. That's a lead a day on average. And I didn't have people begging to become part of my property management company when I had 0. And I realized I leveraged something else that's not just capital, not just human it's not human expertise or human time, but it was also brand. Leveraging a brand. I mean, celebrities do this all the time. Celebrities leverage brands. I mean, sorry, brand companies leverage celebrities with their brand to sell products. So why can't I take over a property management company and leverage that to get more rental contracts? And that's exactly what I did. I took that. I saw there were some that I really didn't want to work with because they were, quite frankly, assholes or other means of measures. They were really difficult clients. And I had enough deal flow coming in where I said, "All right, peace." Took them out, brought the good ones in, and just get from there. All I needed was that brand. And I revamped the whole company and operationalized the whole thing, right? So now I sit, you know, at the time I was working, I'll just kind of continue this, 16-hour days in the beginning because we realized there's no infrastructure here. So I was working in the business and then working on the business during the hours where it wasn't busy. So I was doing it all things because this company run perfectly, right? So that's where the value add comes in at my end. I brought the people in. I knew what I was doing. I brought the people in, brought the VAs. I brought, I just onboarded an assistant a week. Um, and yeah, there are people from the Philippines, people, whatever, and just leverage as much as I can, right? And now the business is so hands off. I can speak in front of you guys right here, and my business is running and making money. Now, I want to talk. I want to end this whole thing on this last concept, right? Before we kind of summarize things, and I'll let you guys go. Um, the big thing here is I built a business. That's something that I want you guys to know is like when you guys are buying real estate and trying to create that freedom of time, remember that leverage doesn't always have to be for the people that don't have money. Leverage could be for the people that don't have time. I know there's a lot of people here that potentially have amazing profits coming in, all this money coming in. Why do I need to leverage? I don't need to leverage for anything. I'm like, all right, when's the last time that you went to your son's baseball game? Wait, when's the last time you saw your girl do ballet? It's true. Like, I'm like, okay, well, you really have what you need. Maybe you need to leverage something in life to get you to where the goals get to. Let's say you do have all the time. Do you feel like you're living a purposeful life? Do you feel like you're missing a sense of purpose? How can you leverage to get that sense of purpose? Right? So there's so many different things you can think about, but leverage is a way that you multiply results. So think about this. Results equal work times uh, or work times leverage. So work is limited by time. You only have so much time in a day to work. Leverage multiplies the work that you do. Tech, people, systems, operations, brand, whatever it is, all these different capital, all these different things expedite the work and get you that end result. So if you guys ever think about in your life where you guys can improve on, remember that this is not just buying real estate for wealth. It's about creating the business to allow it to function and allows you to have the life you want to live. And that's all I'm going to leave you guys on that. The last thing I want to say is mindset leverage is for everybody. There's always something to do, and I would never ever go on those concepts. Always think about how you can make your life better and better so you can truly live the life that you want to live. And I will say this, I say this at my events all the time. Everybody here, by the way, everybody here is for a reason. You guys would not be at this RIA if there wasn't an underlying reason why you guys are here. Every single person in this room is here for a reason. Why don't you find out that reason? That's all I say.
Hey, Patrick, definitely gonna have some Q&A here if you're cool with that. Yeah, so we have microphones in the middle, and want to start us off with some questions? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, awesome. So my name is Travis, and I really appreciate you coming out here and kind of talking about it. Young perspective, you're 26, I'm 26. I get it. A room full of people who are a little bit older than you, intimidating. So I appreciate you for that. So one thing that I find really interesting about what you have done is not only did you invest in real estate, but you invested in a business that was able to optimize your real estate that made you more hands off from your real estate. So when you're looking at businesses that you potentially are maybe investing in, like your property management, when you were looking at it on paper, can you kind of break down what you were looking for to see if it was actually a good deal? Because with real estate, it's really easy to see income, revenue versus expenses. Like, okay, great. And is there value add to that real estate? But with a business, it now becomes operational. Hey, payroll. How does the payroll work? Can I optimize the payroll? Can I optimize the systems to bring in more revenue so that way my debts are being outrun, so that way the cash flow of the business is going up much higher? Can you kind of break down how you look at that?
Yeah, that's a good question, dude. I will say the hard thing here is as much as we want to put numbers on businesses, it is a numbers thing, but at the same time, it's a people thing. And it's so hard to gauge value of the people. So, like, for example, in this company specifically, there was people set up in positions that I knew that I could continue to invest in and that they would flourish and make my business better. And that's exactly what I did. I saw that potential, but that was not on a number sheet. I didn't see that on an accounting sheet, right? That was something that I just felt off of talking to them, realizing, okay, this is how it is. So it's hard. It's a good question. It's hard to gauge in a lot of ways, but I do think, in my opinion, that numbers are one part of it, right? I was looking at numbers. I was like, okay, how fast can I pay myself back? How can I do all this? But my business mindset was realizing that it's not just the numbers. Like there's value to the numbers itself, but there's more value to, like, for instance, the brand. It's hard to value a brand, right? Specific it's hard to really gauge, like, "Oh, how many leads is this brand gonna get me in the next 20 days, 30 days," right? So, it is a really tricky middle ground, but I guess that's where the risk factor comes into play, where you're kinda like, "Okay, I'm gonna take a bet on this, and I'm gonna think that I'm gonna conservatively underwrite this as just by the numbers, but I know based on the people that are here, I have a good feeling about this. And I really do think that they're gonna take care of my properties, it's gonna work, and we're gonna get to the next level." And I realized also that the listings that I had, no matter how ugly or pretty they were, I mean, they were pretty good for the most part, but what really matters when I was talking to somebody, I could say, "Listen, I have" it's super much easier to sell when you say, "Hey, I have 20 listings, doesn't matter how pretty or whatever, 20 listings, I have a full team in-house, 2 area managers, I have all cleaners in-house, I have a handyman on payroll, do you wanna join with us or not?" Much easier than saying, "Well, it's just me, and, like, I got all these techniques and stuff." It's like, "Alright, with your own properties, but, like, where's your proof of concept?" Right? So for me, that there was value to that.
So the biggest issue I find with Airbnbs is trying to make that property stand out from the rest of the crowd. And in the Omaha area, especially as things are transitioning, there's a lot of people that are doing flips, and those flips didn't sell the price they needed. So they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna throw that in Airbnb." I think there's a handful of people in this room I know that have done that. And what have you done, or what advice do you give the people that you're managing for? Obviously, Joshua Tree is a destination spot versus Omaha, Nebraska, which we have the zoo and College World Series and Berkshire Hathaway days. But outside of those events, you got to really stand out to try to get to the top of the list. What is some advice that you would give to make your property stand out? Is it amenities? Is it knocking out as many checkboxes as you can on Airbnb? Is it the hot tub, or is it the look? Like, what suggestions do you have for clients?
That was a good question too. Yeah. On the spot. So with that, like, I think at the core principle, right, like, we're running a business, especially when you're in the short-term rental space. I realize that it's more about business than it is it's like real estate that's backed by real estate, but front end is business, right? So you have guests or clients, you have people that you need to, customers, right? So you have to understand your end users, what I'm trying to say. So my end users in Joshua Tree, I will be honest, I have a property in Joshua Tree that has a shroom room. Now, that's not gonna work. I don't think this is gonna work in Omaha. I don't know if people are gonna look to go take shrooms at some house. But in the desert, in the middle of nowhere, where there's a bunch of LA people with money that are looking to get away and just do drugs, and you're in the middle of nowhere, no cop's gonna get you, so it's like, why not? So it's like, it I know my market, I know my demographic, and because of that, that property does significantly well. It makes I mean, so like, it makes, like, over $100,000 a year, like, great, like, 110, 120 probably. Um,
what does a shroom room need to be a true shroom room? Is it like velvet walls?
So you know
What?
how it is about learning your demographic, right, Tom? So, you have to test out, you have to learn how the people are. You have to test them. No, what we did is we put drums in there. We put speakers to allow people to feel the experience. We put uh, little little shroom wallpaper all around. It was all this stuff, and we had the whole backyard is an oasis. Like you have a pool, you have a hot tub, you have a sauna, so you can literally just be in nature and go with the flow, dude. That kind of thing. But yeah, we definitely asked some expert opinions for what to put in and came up with. Um, But yeah, so to go back to your question, Todd, it depends on the market. It's not going to work for Nebraska. I'm sorry to say, but it's not going to work for Nebraska. I don't know much about this state.
You'd be surprised.
Maybe there's a demand for it, so somebody jot down that idea. It might work. Um, but but I think you should really dig into who's coming there for what reason. Like for my properties, people are there for the experience. People are looking to get away. They're looking I amenity pack those babies, right? Because I know exactly what people are looking for. They're looking to get away. They're looking to get access to different amenities that they don't have in their, 700 square foot apartment in LA. So that's what we do. And people in Omaha, I mean, I don't know if people are coming to the games, the traffic driver for the full year, maybe make a themed room. But I don't know if there's enough traffic to justify that, right? I don't know this market that well, and so that would come down to you guys and bring inspiration from other people that are doing well in the area. Like look at different comps, see what they're doing, see what they're putting into their properties, and just make it a little bit better.
All right. So thank you very much for summarizing your um, concept of scaling with leverage and mindset. You did mention something about um, that you just flipped a switch. So you had a breakdown and you flipped a switch and everything was rainbows and butterflies, but it actually wasn't like that, right? So could you talk about how many times you had to, how many times you relapsed, and how many times you had to basically push back through that low point again to get to the other step
What is this?
and
AA
continue
meeting?
going again?
A relapse. How many times did I relapse? I mean, I mean, dang. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people in this room can probably understand how it feels. And just knowing that you guys are here and you guys want to get better and you guys want to do the best, and that's why you guys came here. I'm assuming you guys do know and understand the hardships of failing multiple times over and over and over again. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, it was not butterflies, and I mean, 3 jobs had to fire me before I realized I was a shitty employee. So it's I mean, everyone's got their thing, right? So, um, yeah, I think it's just about understanding self and just knowing that. I think it's more about understanding that all those different failures are moving you towards success, right? They're learning I look it's that's why mindset's so important. I look at those as learning opportunities. I failed on my startup where I raised venture capital. I let a lot of people down. Trust me. When you take somebody's money and you let them down, it is not a good feeling. And I'm not proud to stand here and say, look, blew all this money and I screwed up. But guess what? I look at it as a learning opportunity. I said, thank you for being with me, and I got the college tuition for it, right? So I've lost money on deals. I've lost over $100,000 on flip, bad contractors. So I've been there, and it's one of those things where I just looked at it and I said, well, dang. Well, if this is what it takes to learn it, then I'd rather spend it here than spend it on a specific college education that costs 200, 300,000 over the year. So that's the way I look at it.
So if you got questions, just come up to the mic so that way we can get on the recording. Do you want to come up? No. Yeah, there you go.
I guess just a follow up to that, since we all do know failure, it helps to know how other people recovered from that. So, what kinds of things did you do to pick yourself back up and move forward? That's a really good question.
Hey, you guys always have really good questions, man. That's why I wanted to get you the mic. I had a feeling you had a good question. So yeah, I mean, I think I didn't know how to deal with that. I mean, I want to stand up here and tell you guys I know exactly what I'm doing all the time. I, I don't know. Like, we're all just trying to figure it out, right? We're all just like, being a parent, being like people. People see you're like, oh, you're 30. You should know what you're doing with your life, or you should know how to parent, or you should know how to do this. I feel like we just kind of all just jump into it and we just figure it out, right? So I think yes, I attempted a lot of things. I took personality tests that helped. I feel like I realized I was not a. I basically realized I was not a good employee through all those tests. Um, I tests, taking a lot of different things, seeing. I think it's like gratitude about like what things worked for you. I think when I was in my low point, I was always bringing it back to like, hey, Patrick, like you gotta be nice to yourself. Like you have started a company at 14. You've done all these different things that people would be super, ecstatic about accomplishing, right? Gratitude. I think that honestly, to answer your question, I think that's the biggest thing is gratitude. Just being like grateful for where you're at and what you're doing. I don't know if that was a very California answer. I don't know if that sticks here. Do you want something more logical? But I think gratitude has helped me.
So I got 20 questions written here. So if you guys don't get up here, we got 30 minutes of questions to fill. Oh, you got one. I'll let you go first.
So you mentioned earlier you worked for a rental arbitrage that rents property from landlords and turns those into Airbnbs. So that's what I'm doing right now. And you said you utilize tech from your technical background to scale those. What tech were you really referring to, and how did it utilize that for the company to scale it?
Yeah. So at the time, this is a very specific question, so it's gonna require, like, terminology in the space, but PMS, property management software, at the time when I was working with Advanced State, they didn't have concrete players in that field. So at the time, like, in 2019, 2018, when I was working there, they built out their own, PMS system in-house. So they built it out in-house. They built out everything. They were doing everything pretty much. It was hard. Like, they rather, like, code it and, like, put it in-house and, like, make it work for their systems. But I think there's a lot of examples of times where I had to, like, make processes more efficient, man. Like, one time was, like, unified inboxes, right? Unified inboxes wasn't a thing. There's no Hostfully, Guesty, all these other different players that you have now. That happened in 2020. That's why everyone became like, with the low interest rates, all the technology, that's why everything, like, blew up the way it did because they access the technology. And now what you're seeing, and I'm just gonna give a sneak peek, now you're seeing AI. The people that are gonna be leveraging AI in their businesses, at least in the short-term rental space, they're gonna be ahead of everybody else, and that's just gonna optimize things even more and make the competition more stiff. But that's what business is, right? It's about who can leverage the technology they need to be able to make the money they need to make, right? So to answer your question, there's no like specific software, but I think it's a combination. Like they it's hard to say. They like built out a lot of things in house. And I don't know if that even served them well. Like I will tell you right now, like when I came into Joshua Tree area, I took their business. Like I took 2, 3 clients from them as of today. So, to say that they are doing things perfectly, it's not always the case. Like, I think tech matters based on what business you operate in. For us, like, we have Slack, we have Breezeway for the, coordination, the maintenance, and the cleaners. We have, I'm trying to think. We have, like, Google Docs, Google Sheets. We have money.com for project management. We have Price Labs. Even Price Labs, like alone doesn't work. Like you need to have a management technique, right? Like how are you pricing different properties based on your market, right? Like what's your lead time? How do you structure all the? It's like a whole conversation. How are your messages looking like? Do you have enough touch points? Are the touch points reflective of like understanding like okay, are we getting an answer whether they're having a 5-star experience with us, right? Like getting those things out because sometimes guests won't tell you things and you have to prompt them to tell you. So like things like that, right? So it's like very intentional. It's like, do they understand the Airbnb rating system? I always have a message at the end that says, "This is the rating system. This is how it works." Meaning, four stars is not, "Oh, things went wrong." It's 4 stars is things went wrong and I didn't do shit about it. You know? Just letting you guys know. Like I want to say it's a 5 star. We tried our best and we put it out there and we didn't ignore it. We tried to make it right. We gave you the refund if it was needed. That kind of thing, right? So it's a hopefully that helps in some ways. It's not we
No,
can
it
talk.
does. It gives me a better understanding. I'd love to talk after.
Yeah, we'll talk after and I'll give you like examples of what I mean.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Kind of answered this already. I wanted to ask you about pricing, right? Especially with the Airbnb market where
Yes.
it's like oversaturated, a lot of
Let's talk
Airbnbs
pricing.
out there. How do you figure out your pricing? You go lowball, below market pricing, or you go above market
Yeah.
pricing? How do you try to figure out your price? Especially with the first area where, with the exception of the Pledgeword series, there's really nothing yet. How do you, in a competitive market, how do you figure out your price?
Yes. Okay. Let's break down pricing. This is getting like more specific. So for the people that aren't in this space, but pricing essentially is about understanding lead times. What is the lead time? From the time that somebody books to the date of their reservation, right? So let's say that my reservation is 30 days out and I book today. That means that's a 30-day lead time, right? So understanding lead times is super important. Understanding it per property. So let's say like 4-bedroom properties are probably going to have higher lead times. We're going to have a month and a half or 2 months for our business, right? If you're in a summer market, it might even be 3 months. So that's the average, right? And so you understand that. Once you understand that number, you can start building the pricing strategy, right? So like, for example, I think here's a good example. Like in our market, May is a shoulder month, and there's a lot of graduation, a lot of things going on. Like it gets into the hot desert heat, like it's not good. So what we did is we booked those ahead of time. We booked those a month out so that we were already booked. So the people that were waiting last minute and then dropping prices, there was not enough demand of people that were booking last minute for those days because those were planned out. So it's like we figured out the lead times and we build our pricing strategy based on those lead times, depending on the property, depending on the market.
Hi. First of all, I just want to say I enjoyed your podcast with the Ted and
Awesome. Thank you.
Owen and Denlis. It was really good. So you said that you leveraged a realtor in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. Who else or what else did you leverage there? So maybe like a designer to furnish the place. And was that important?
Yes, that's good. Okay. I leverage everything. That's the way I do things. So let's talk about the Joshua Tree market because I'm more familiar with that. Joshua Tree market, you got to stand up. So here's an example of where I leverage somebody that is good at what they do to come into the property. We had this one property that was underperforming. One of the first properties I bought out there, I didn't know what I was doing. I bought some property in a residential area, realized, wow, like the moment demand went to normal levels, people are not going to stay in residential areas and they're going to be capped on what they want to spend if they do spend. So I need to be out in the middle of nowhere. That's what people want in the area. But I didn't know that. So I bought this property and whatever. It was an okay property. It actually lost money. So it's the only property that I had that was not doing well, especially after all this craziness happened with the interest rates. So what do I do? How do I get out of this slump? I cut corners on this property. I didn't use a designer. I did all the things wrong that I could have done. So the thing that I did was I said, you know what? I'm going to hire the experts. I found this girl on Instagram, and I saw her stuff, and I was like, she's crazy as fuck. And I'm like, freaking love it. This is so Joshua Tree. And I literally brought her into my house. I was like, I don't give a crap what you do. Just make this perform. Do whatever you want. Go wild. Unlimited budget. Well, not to a certain degree. And she literally she painted the house pink. She put like zebra heads on like in the middle of the walls randomly. She put like this disco ball, or sorry, this guy. She put disco balls in the fireplace. She like put an alien on a bench and like having like margaritas or something, some crazy stuff. Like I was like, I walked into this. I'm like, why is there CDs all over the wall? Like, and there's so many things I was like, I don't know if I would wanna, like, stay here as a guy. Like, I don't know if this is like it was like it's and we called it the pink disco. She got, like, this buggy off of Facebook Marketplace, painted it blue, and threw it in the backyard. So she did all these different things. She bought a mannequin, she cut off its head and put a disco ball head on it, like crazy stuff. And at the whim, she didn't even plan it. She was like, "Yeah, I wanna do this. I wanna just cut off his head. It looked cool." And, it that property crushed. I wouldn't wanna stay there, but there's definitely drunken girls and bachelorette parties and all sorts of people that wanna stay there, experience the Barbie, alien, I don't know what the heck experience, and it crushes it. But that money that we had to spend, like, that was the differentiating factor. I found the who to my how. Like, I wanted to know how I can turn this around. I found somebody that could just say, "Trust me, I got this." And not only that, she marketed the heck out of it. So that allowed us to get a lot of direct bookings. So, if anybody's interested who that was, Bridget. Her Instagram, oh my god, I'm gonna swear again. It's Bridget Bitch, that's her Instagram. Um, that doesn't count, but that wasn't me. That's her Instagram. And then that's basically it. I think you gotta understand, like, in each market, you have a specific thing that you don't know how to do that well. You find somebody that can do the thing really well because it makes no sense for you to do it. For you to learn everything and do all the people that do everything themselves, like, just wait, it defeats the purpose. It's about time. Time is the most valuable resource, not money. Money is not the most valuable resource. Time is the most valuable resource.
Patryk, is there any emerging technologies or trends that are likely to shape the future of short-term rental industry?
Yeah, good question. I mean, AI, we just talked about that. Definitely a big contributor to the whole infrastructure of, like, how things are done. Now people don't even need to answer guest communication. You can be talking to AI. I mean, I don't know if everyone wants to be talking to AI, but look, now if everyone starts adapting AI, all you have to do is you just gotta be differentiated, and you gotta give that personal experience. All you gotta do is just, like, call up the guest, especially for high-end bookings, which I do. I call up the guest. I don't even call them up, you know, I just do a 15-second video. "Hey, my name is Pat. Hey, my name is Patrick. I'm welcoming you to my cabin. I'm so excited for you to come in. Let me know if I can do anything for you." And use their name, use their, "Oh my god, I'm so excited for your dog Oscar to come by." So I think that's, like, that personal touch. It took me 15 seconds, and I don't have to do it. Look, I'm all about leverage, folks. I don't have to do it. I can have AI create a bunch of videos and just change up the different the names of it, right? It's about being more creative. How do I get an edge on everybody else if everyone else is using the same technologies? You know? So, yeah.
I appreciate you teaching short-term rentals. I'm trying to get into the market. Just two questions. How did you structure it in terms of asset protection? Did you have an LLC per property, or you have an overall LLC for property management? And the other question is, have you ever done short-term rental in a self-directed Roth IRA
Okay.
to basically shelter from taxes?
Yeah, I've never bought a short-term rental with self-directed IRA. I have taken money from other people in a self-directed IRA to buy a property that I eventually renovated and made into a short-term rental and then paid them back. I've never used a self-directed IRA. I don't know the answer to that. That's I'm not a lawyer. Um, yeah, quite frankly, I don't want to touch that law stuff. But the second thing, for me personally, and this obviously, please, I'm not a lawyer. Please talk to your CPAs, talk to your, LLPs, whatever. Um, the the thing that I did was in the beginning to get started, I didn't complicate things. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna buy something. I'm not gonna complicate things. I'm sure you're probably thinking the same way I do, man. Like, I try to think of every possible situation. What if the house burns down? What if this happens? What if this blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, like, you gotta just take action and you can figure out along the way. Because once you take that action, like, once I put that offer in that property, I was like, "Oh, crap. I don't have time to think about all these different parameters." I'm like, "What's most important here? Let's do that," right? So then you figure things out, and that pressure is actually what you need to actually think the thing happen, right? So for me, I just did it in the beginning. I bought it and I didn't have any protection. I was like, okay, well, I have renter's insurance, great, but I want to protect my assets if somebody sues me. So I was like, what do I do? And I actually just put it was under my personal name. It was the vacation home. It was 10% down, and I just bought umbrella policy, and I did that, and it was like 20 bucks, 30 bucks a month or something like that. And I was like, that's fine. That's business expense. Um, and who cares about 20 bucks when you're making 60,000 a year, you know? So I think it's about thinking. A lot of people try to think about how can I save money, how can I do this, all this stuff. Sometimes it's just good to take action and just be analysis paralysis and then figure it out as you go.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
To touch base on the insurance side of it, I have 9 active midterm short terms, and my insurance agent told me that, correct me if you heard differently, but he said you got to have short term insurance on there if it's more than 50%, which on a single family home it took what would normally be $1,500 insurance, like $2,100 for the year, and then on top of that the deductibles changed, and I think I pay 6 or 7% of the replacement cost as my deductible. So when that hailstorm hit in July, which all hit in one part of town where I happen to be every one of my properties are at, I think my deductibles are exceeding $30,000 right now. So because it's a commercial plan, so it got to be a little. But I was told that Airbnb insurance is only supplemental insurance to your policy. And my agent said that now because there's so many Airbnbs, they're getting to a point now that when the claim comes in or if your house burns down, especially if it's catastrophic, they're going to check Airbnb first. If it's on there, decline your claim if you don't have the proper insurance, which the Airbnb does not provide you the supplemental insurance that you think you have for $1 million.
Yeah. So that's a good thing as well. Like eventually I added everything into an LLC. So it's not a commercial property, or it's not like, in California it's like $800 to do an LLC. So I just put everything into one LLC. I don't know if that was a lazy way to do it, but I don't think that it's like crazy amount worth of properties where it's not like 30, 40 million. But yeah, you're right. Like multiple forms of protection. One is just home insurance, right? The basic home insurance. Then it's renter's insurance, specifically short-term rental insurance. If you actually talk to, I actually got mine through State Farm. So State Farm actually said, you know what, like we can get you the lowest rates, and I went with them because it was the best rate. And it was great. They covered it. There's a time and period of time where I had burst pipes in the Smoky Mountains, where it was like freezing temperatures, and I called out my home insurance, and they're like, "Well, thankfully you have renter's insurance, because that covers all the." It was New Year's Eve and New Year's, like holiday season, so that's a lot of money. That was like 4 or 5 grand. So I was like, and it was like, "Yep, that covers it. No worries." So that covered it and covered all the damage that happened, and I only had to put 10% down or 1% of the property value down. So it's like not that bad. I think they covered up to 290,000, so it was only $2,900 down, and then I got 10,000 plus back. So that was my deductible. So I think it's worth it. Definitely get the short-term rental insurance, and then Airbnb supplemental.
There's I'll keep on named. I don't know if you want to name this person in the room I chatted with, and he told me that he actually had a claim through. They wouldn't cover his costs because it was short term, so they wouldn't cover the rental loss costs. So he actually rented the property back to himself, his business, a separate LLC on a, he said 3-4 year lease. And then that way, if there's any and so it almost became his own rental arbitrage between companies. So that way he could get insurance coverage if there's a case where the house was uninhabitable, a small fire. So that was a great little tip of information. And I've actually had a couple people mention that to me. But I think that person one's going names. I'll leave it there. But if he wants to talk, I'll let him come up. But I do got another question. I got about 10 more minutes of questions. You got a question, unless you want to take in front of them? Okay, I'll do this one. And then we want to take this to 8:30, so if you got questions, come up here. How do you see the future of the short-term rental industry evolving, and what opportunities towns are ahead of you?
That's a good question. Um, this is all speculation, right? So like for me, I sit, I do conferences. I'm around all the different, I guess you could say, influencers, of the short-term rental space, and there's a couple trends that are happening here and there. One is midterm rentals, and that's you guys probably see that a lot. This is probably a good midterm rental market for most people, right? There's a lot of business travelers, things of that nature. Another big trend that's happening is boutique hotels. So people are deciding, you know what? I'm not going to play around with the regulations that are happening in the short-term rental space. I'm going to buy a boutique hotel, and I'm going to play instead of going against them. Hotels lobbying against short-term rentals. I'm going to play with them. I'm going to get a commercial property. I'm going to buy it. I don't care about the regulations. At that point, if I make it operationally better, then my net profit goes up, and then that valuation is higher. So now you're not stuck in, like, for instance, like I've fallen into the problem of, oh, my house makes $150,000 a year. That house makes $50,000 a year. Same house. Doesn't matter if I operate it better. That house has a sales approach to the comp, right? It's a sales approach to appraisals. So I can only get so much money for it in terms of like somebody wants to buy it, unless they buy it with cash. So for that, like with hotels, let's say the cap rate's 10% and you make the property go from $100,000 net to $200,000 net, you just double the value of the property. That's $1 million to $2 million. So, like, obviously easier said than done. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm just saying this is a simple example to show that a lot of people are going into boutique hotels because they see the wealth generation factor of it being very interesting and intrinsic. And so I've put boutique hotels under contract myself. So I definitely believe in that. Didn't work out. It's much tougher than it looks. Financing is really hard for the people that are here do commercial. Financing is tough, but it's definitely a field to get into. Another thing with the short-term rental space I think is happening a lot of now is there's a lot of mom and pop shops retiring. I've actually had, like, I think like 5 to 7, somewhere around there, property management companies come up to me and say, "Hey, can I sell my property management company to you?" Because I made the post about me buying a property management company, and I'm realizing there's more than just me that are just, sick of doing this. It's I'll be honest, for some people, it is a young person game. I'm sorry to say, like, it's a lot of headache. There's also stuff that happens. I've had people
24-hour calls.
24-hour calls. I mean, I can
Can't
talk
figure out
for
the keypad.
days. Yeah, like, I mean, I've had people, like, literally think hurt in the hot tub. Like, I've seen it all. I've seen people pissing off roofs. I've seen people partying and leaving behind, like, cocaine. I've seen people
Shrooms.
come in with guns and, like, party it up, and, like, the cops can't do anything about it. Oh, man, I've seen kids fall into pools and die, and then having the liability of that. So I'm telling you, it's not always rainbows and sunshines. Um, but some people are just like, I'm over this. And I don't blame you. I get it. That's why I brought in employees, and that's why I manage it from the high level. But that kind of understanding, I think what's happening is it's similar to kind of how used cars are right now, right? This is my opinion, by the way. This is all speculation. I think that right now cars are like, if you think about it, there's a lot of used car companies, right? But then these big players come in and say, "Well, I'm Carvana. I wanna do things better. I want to do things differently, and I wanna put a brand that shows that, hey, we're not all used car salesmen." Tesla comes in. "Hey, you know what? I actually just bought a Tesla, and the process is so much better than a dealership." Like, I was looking at dealerships and cars, and Tesla, I don't know, yes or no against Tesla or whatever. The experience was so easy. He wasn't hard selling me. I pressed the button, I got the car, I went on my app, I got the financing, I clicked the button, I got the whatever the insurance. Super easy. And so, people are disrupting industries, right? They're making things more simple. They're taking technology and making it more optimized. And I think that's what's happening with short-term rentals, right? Like, I don't think it's hedge funds aren't really getting. I mean, there are some hedge funds that buy short-term rentals, but it's not as common, and it's starting to kind of be a little bit more common. I see a lot of people getting acquisition offers. I'm seeing a lot of these big players trying to consolidate and try to build brands and try to build consistency because right now it's mom and pop shops, right? So where does the opportunity lie there? I don't know exactly. I was thinking about franchising. I was thinking about these different models, but these are just things to keep in mind as I think branding and having ownership of the marketing is going to be a big thing moving forward in the next 2 years.
Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up with the last question here. So, property management. You manage your Airbnbs, and you manage other people's Airbnbs, and I personally manage a handful of my midterms, and all my short terms are managed by Orange Property Management here in town. What benefits is there to hiring somebody to be a property manager versus doing it yourself? I know that personally, I think it's a size thing. It's also resources and crews. That's kind of the big battles you're dealing with. But when you're talking to a new client, they're kind of on the fence. What should I do? What's the benefits? What's your pitch that you give them as a property manager and the benefits that you provide?
Yeah, it's not for everyone. There's some people that are very involved in the business. Some of my clients are like, girl, you literally drove 2 hours to talk to this guest that literally had no issues. Like, why'd you do that? Like, they're so involved where I'm like, you should just manage it yourself. I'll teach you how to manage it yourself. Trust me, this is probably better for you. There's other people that don't have the time, right? It's all about resources, right? It's do you have the time? Do you not have the time? The reason I bring it in-house is because for me, I know I'm going to be buying boutique hotels. I know I'm going to be doing these acquisitions. I know I'm going to be dominating the markets. So, and I'm buying a lot out there. So for me, it makes sense to have the property management company in-house because not only can I service other clients, but I can also benefit from all the VAs, all the area managers that are taking care of my houses too. They're on salary and they're but if I only had if I had all those area managers for just my properties, it wouldn't make sense, right? So for me, it's economies of scale. So it makes sense from that perspective. So if you're asking yourself, should I manage it myself or should I give it to somebody else? It's about understanding where you're at in your life and understanding do I have the time to do this? Do I have the time to build out this infrastructure? It's possible. I'm not saying it's not, but it's the difference between everyone has to make a decision in their life, at least the way I see it, is there's more passive income and there's more active income. Passive income is, I think it's kind of a hoax. I think every time you have like a long-term rental, there's gonna be things that come up that's gonna it's even with a property manager, things come up, things blow out, like let's say HVAC blows out or whatever, like you still have to replace that, you still have to put out money. Like, what I mean? It's still stressful. I think it's more so about like understanding where should your active investment be because the active investment should be in high return areas. So instead of low return areas. So like let's say it's a property that's gonna make like 10,000 a year. Like, do you really want to be spending all your time on this property that's gonna make $10,000 a year? Or do you think it's better just if somebody cut it 2K and let them do it? Right. So it's about balancing that act, in my opinion.
Do you deal with just massive kleptos ever? Because I tell you what, every one of my short terms, every time some of these, I feel like somebody needs to steal one thing,
all the time.
and it's like, oh, today we only have 3 forks. Tomorrow we have three coffee mugs, and now I'm going to Goodwill and getting coffee mugs that say Merry Christmas on them because I don't want them stolen.
You know what's funny about that?
Are you doing inventory every time or
dude,
what?
all the time. I think people steal toilet paper. I'm like, dude, this is not like COVID. Like, what's going on? And so I think the craziest thing that somebody stole, and I got it on camera. This was hilarious. These guests took my carried out my propane fire pit and put it in their car and drove off. I'm like, and I called them out on it. I was like, hey guys, you guys just jacked my fire pit. And they were just like, no, we didn't. What do you mean? It's like I was showing the proof. They're like, that's not us. It's like some homeless people around. I'm like, oh man, it's so aggravating. But you know what I did? You just figure it out, right? We cemented the next fire pit, and then we put cement underground and we checked it. Now nobody can check it. There you go.
Can you finish this with a really good, fun story to something that was like super crazy wild. It could be prostitutes breaking into your laundry
Oh,
room
I
and
have a good
catching
one.
on camera that we have that happen.
Okay, so I think one of the funniest stories is when I first took over the company, there's this one person that was ex-felon working there. Now look, I don't have anything against ex-felons, whatever. I don't care as long as you do your job. Anyways, this guy was crazy guy. I mean, he actually went to one of the houses. He got a lap dance from the strippers that were at the house, and he was like, "Yeah," like I was like, "Don't you have a wife?" And he was like, "Yeah, man." Was like, "You're not gonna tell her, are you?" And I was like, "No, you're an ex-felon. Do something to me." Like, I'm not gonna freaking tell anybody anything. It was funny because it was this tough guy, like from Texas and all, and damn, shit talking. But hopefully he doesn't find me. But basically, the funniest thing was he's this tough guy, Texan guy. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. I was like, okay, cool. And was in jail for 30 years, like all this crazy stuff. Really smart guy. Um, and there was a situation where the guest that did a turd in the pool, in the hot tub. Was, like, floating there, and he was like, "Oh no, I wouldn't touch that. No, ever." And I'm like, he's like, I've seen people with their like heads bashed in. I've seen all this stuff, but I would never touch her. And I was like, dude, this guy is such a wuss. Whatever. We had a cleaner go over there and just take it out of the pool, but that's probably the craziest story. Huh? well, well, actually, what happened was he went to the store to get a net, and the guest picked up the turd, and I was like, all right, there's a big refund and a 1-star review. But eventually we figured it out. But yeah, that guy was wild.
Let's give a big round of applause for Patrick. People want to reach out to you, people have questions. Can you tell them how to find you, how to reach out to you, social media, what it is?
I'm very active on Instagram. That's like my big thing. So Patryk, Patryk, and then underscore SWI. You should be able to find that. But it's spelled very unconventionally. My mom misspelled it when she gave birth to me. She was a little on drugs, but we ran with it.
I just thought it was a Polish thing.
It's a Polish thing, guys. It's how we spell it, okay? Yeah, that's what it is. Patryk. I'd love to chat with you guys. I'm gonna be having beers and drinks. So if you guys want to talk to me, I'd be happy to talk to you guys. I love talking to people like this. You guys listen to me, so there's a reason you guys are here. I want to find out that reason. So please talk to me. And yeah.
So we randomly met in a line, just so you know. So that's how this all came together. So it's all about networking, getting a person to know a person next to you, right? Hey, in conclusion, I got a few things to cover here. New members, if you're new to the new to here, and you want to give a shout out what you're looking for or why you came, who said they're new? I saw a couple hands up. Tell us about you.
Hey, I'm Caitlin. Nice to meet y'all. I work for Good Property Services. We actually service short-term rentals. So we do the cleaning, laundering, essentials, all included in one. So it's my first time here. This is Paige. We work together. So yeah, thanks for having us here.
Before we just let anybody get on the mic, is there any other newbies? Second time? You want to give a shout out to what you do or what you're looking for?
Hey guys, name is Eric Biba. I'm into short-term rental. I just started a couple of months ago. It was hard to find one because it was rental arbitrage. But I'm at the point where I was making calls and stuff. I'm working on mine, but I got people calling me now to give me 2 extra houses. So I think somebody was saying, hey, he's ready to get started. So I can talk to the guy and see if you want to get it. We can, yeah. So we can talk later. Thank you.
Awesome. Welcome back. Anybody else want to just shout out their business or jump on the mic? Yeah, jump on the mic.
I just came from Raleigh this morning.
You got to get nice to speaker here.
I just came from Raleigh. I'm a North Carolina investor. Saw the Omaha market's kind of big, so trying to do some deals in North Carolina, but also look at deals maybe in Nebraska. So if anyone has any wholesale deals, I'm interested.
Awesome. And you're doing work through the RIA in North Carolina through Rob at JM Real Estate Capital, right?
I was like, oh, surprise. And I'm closing on a Fayetteville property next to Fort Bragg in 2 weeks.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Anybody else want to shout their business, what they're looking for? They got something to sell? This is your chance right here. Too slow, Steve.
Sorry, you can come up. All right. Just question, is there anybody in the room who has not flipped a house, but they really want to?
I love that question.
Good. Who in the room has flipped a house? Okay. Who in the room has flipped a house and they're a minor?
Ooh,
Okay.
good lead.
So if you'd like to hear a story about a first-time flip, go to the Lincoln area, July 10th, where you can hear about a 16-year-old who flipped her first house.
Nice. Woo! Could you maybe give us like a 30-second little shout out? Because that's definitely a win. We spoke at the RIA event like a year and a half ago in front of the whole group, and you were like 14 at the time. So you gonna get up there and tell us something real quick? What can we expect to hear about in your amazing presentation at the Lincoln RIA? Well, just give some people key notes. The pressure's on.
I'm Riley Eccles. That's my dad, Nate Eccles, and I am 16 years old. I started getting interested into real estate when I was 11, and I've been around real estate my whole life because my dad owned a property when I was born, I guess. And so I've been taken to all these different properties and stuff. And then I decided we go to these huge, or we go to this bigger mastermind, national, and I saw other kids there that were inspired by me, and then they were doing their own stuff, and I was like, I gotta get going with this. So I decided I would start doing my own thing, and I set a goal to flip my house by the end of last year, and I obtained the property at before that last year ended, but then I sold it in April this year. So,
Yay, it'll be a good story. Congratulations. So Riley and her dad presented at the RIA back in 2021. We do have that video on our YouTube channel, RIA Radio, and on RIA Radio podcast. What episode number do you guys remember? So they're going to look it up, and we'll shout that out. But check that out. It's a great podcast. Got to learn a lot about you guys and what you're doing. So congratulations. That's awesome. What you got, Misty?
I wish that I could beat Nate up here now. That's really awesome. And what I have to say doesn't seem as much. But my name is Misty, and I'm an interior design professional. So I was super excited about this particular RIA meeting because it's about short-term rentals. And that's what I do for a living. I furnish short-term rentals. So if you have one that you want to have updated a little bit, or if you're getting into one and you need it completely furnished, come see me because I'm looking for good work. I do. So come see me. Yeah.
And remember, we got to talk too because my little bohemian house Airbnb, you're gonna help me source some back in the day photos for the walls and stuff.
I would love to help you source furniture too, but it sounds like you already are doing that. Okay. Thanks.
Awesome. Caitlin, one of our sponsors in the back.
Hi, my name's Kaylin. I am the office manager for Solid Roofing and Exteriors. We help everybody with all their exterior needs, especially spring in Nebraska means a lot of fun weather, a lot of fun insurance claims, which is something we love to help people through. So if you want information, come see us in the back. We'd love to help you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello. Hey, Axel Foley, everybody. Axel Foley, everybody. Thanks, Dennis. I will. I want to pick our podcast one more time. Andrea did it last time. She's making me do it this time. We have a podcast for kids called Raise Millionaires. We really like your guys' help. Feedback, if you listen to it. We got 3 episodes out. It's all about just like mindset for kids, being a good human, fun things, and it's really lighthearted. They're like 15-minute episodes, not long. So if you guys could listen to it, give us some feedback, kind of let us know, maybe throw some likes out there, whatever you want. Right now it's on Spotify, it's on Google, Stitcher, and we're waiting for Apple to do their stuff. But yeah, Raise Millionaires and raisemillionaires.com is our website. You can go to that and check it out.
Awesome. I love what you're doing.
Thanks.
So I got to give a podcast shout out to Denlis Bertrand at DD Video. If you're friends with Facebook, I posted it on there, but we found out through a site that evaluates your podcasts, there's 3.3 million active podcasts in the world right now. And out of that 3.3 million, due to our consistency and coming up 2 years of podcasting, we ranked 2.5%, the top 2.5% of all podcasts in the world. So thanks, Denlis, for all your help on that. Biggest help that you could give us a like and subscribe and a written review. That helps us out a ton. I say it every time that happens. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, give us a Google review. That does wonders for us. We have, I think we got probably about 20 5-star reviews and a 1-star review on there. So I need to offset that with 1-star review. Boo. Hey, you can't please them all. So awesome. I appreciate that. It means a lot to us. DVG Realty is sponsoring the first $100 tab over at the other. They're our drink sponsor tonight. So thank you to the Schlickburns and DVG Realty. We all go to Burger Theory. It's across the hall. They keep it open as long as we're eating and drinking. We say they're late. Out of respect for the staff, we want to clear this room out in the next 5 minutes. So that way the staff can come in here clean and get moving on. Really appreciate that. Can we give a big round of applause to our staff here? The girls in back, Randy Kelly. Take care of them. They take good care of us. They take really good care of me. So we appreciate that. I appreciate you guys. We hope to see you next door. Patrick, thank you so much for coming out. And thank you guys. Have a good night.